Steelers training camp in Latrobe, less than 2 weeks away, Ike. And one thing I wanted to ask you about, of all the position battles for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm going to take, if you want to pick quarterback, we can talk quarterback. We've talked QB a lot. Is there a training camp battle you're most excited to watch for this Pittsburgh Steelers team in 2022?
I'm going for that quarterback position, that training camp. I want to see what the young stud Kenny Pickett do. I want to see what the veteran stud Mitch Trubisky does. I want to see how they battle in training camp. I just want to see the vibe between the players, how they look at both individual quarterbacks. That's what I want to see. I want to see which quarterback picks the receiver that he likes the best, which quarterback picks the tight end they like best. I want to see who commands the huddle when it comes down to quarterback position. I want to see the energy when it comes down to the two guys, Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky. I want to see how they interact. I want to see how they interact with the quarterback. I want to see third down situations. I want to see red zone situations. I want to see 2-minute offense. That's what I want to see when it comes down to Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett with that quarterback position, because it's the most important position. 7 is not there anymore. 7 been there for 15 years plus. Now 7 is retired. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer. Who's going to take now the other stable to the Pittsburgh Steelers at this quarterback position? Yes, in actuality, you wanted to be Kenny Pickett because he's a Pittsburgh kid and you drafted him. But at the same time, Mitch Trubisky is a first round, a former Pro Bowler, and he's athletic as well. So we shall see. Pittsburgh is in a win-win situation when it comes down to this quarterback position. But between this quarterback position and training camp, time will tell. This is the most important position for any football team. And now this is the new position for both guys, a new position for both guys, whether it's the Pittsburgh Steelers or the quarterback. So, yes, I do want to see, and I do think this is the most important battle in training camp, Mr. Trubisky and Kenny Pickett.
Ike, you played for the team for 12 years. What is like the most important factor in making the determination of we're going to start with Mitch Trubisky or we're going to start with Kenny Pickett? What is it? Is there one thing you could point to? I know there's a lot that goes into the quarterback position that Mike Tomlin, Matt Canada and company are going to be looking for to say, this is the player who's going to start the season for this team.
It's the red zone. I think the red zone is very important. The reason why the red zone is very important in training camp, because you can only throw in them small windows and you got to make your mind up ASAP. There's no hesitation. You know, you got to be right on all your reads when it comes down to the red zone, because either you putting points on the board or you taking points off. And that's what it is in the red zone. Also as well, how will a quarterback react when he throws his first interception? Will he go in the tank and he just going to be a check down quarterback? Or will he say, man, you know what, I'm going to stay aggressive and I'm going to get this team to where I need to get it to. Either the defense made a hell of a play or I just messed up on that read, but y'all not going to stop in my mindset. Y'all not stopping my aggressiveness. That's the two things I'm looking at when it comes down to that training camp position, at that quarterback position. I'm looking at the red zone one with small windows, tight windows, able to read quick and ASAP. And I'm looking at how a quarterback is going to react after they throw an interception.
I have two thoughts about that. And the red zone too, Ike, and you know this playing in the league for as long as you did, windows are a little bit tighter than if you're midfield or other side of the 50. Everything tightens down just because you don't have as much real estate to operate with. And then number two, with interceptions, I don't think all interceptions are created equal. And what I mean by that is certain interceptions can almost be like a de facto arm punt versus, oh, okay, we just gave up a pick six. So it's like not only we turned the ball over, we're giving up 6 the other way as well. So there's just two thoughts I have to where it's just like, you know, you can afford to take shots downfield because if it doesn't work out, a lot of times it's almost just a de facto punt. So I'm with you there.
Yeah, when it comes down to the interception, it just comes down to what part of the game it is. You know, yeah. It's the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left. You definitely don't want to throw an interception down by 4. You know, you trying to get your team in a position to get up and score and win some ball games. Now, if it's early on in the game and you want to take a big shot and the cornerback makes a play on the ball, then okay, we got a little bit of time left. You know, I will look at that as a punt. But then again, man, it just depends on who you're playing. If you're playing a divisional opponent, you don't want to take no chances at all. You want to be pinpoint and you want to be able to get out that hostile environment and get some kind of ranking in your conference. You know, if it's an away game and you're playing a non-conference team, and I hate to say this, but hey, maybe I might take my shots. Or if your offense just demands you to be aggressive, then that's the personality of your offense. Then I get that as well. If you got a offensive coordinator like a Bruce Arians, and Bruce now is not offense coordinator, but Coach Bruce Arians is in the front office, but we all knew he was super aggressive on taking shots down the field. And we lost some, but we won a lot more than we lost. If your offense coordinator has that kind of mentality, then go for it. So it's just gonna see. I'm just gonna see what Matt Canada like to do. Since I've been knowing Matt Canada and studying him, he's been a balanced kind of offensive coordinator. He's able to go, 50-50. So he's gonna see who have the hot hand. And that coaching staff, they're in a totally different world now since 7 has gone. You just know for the past, like I say, 15 plus years going to training camp, who the starter was going to be at that quarterback position. It was going to be Big Ben. Everybody knew that. As long as Big Ben was in the building, that's what it was, regardless of who they had behind them. So it's just a new Bleav for the city, a new Bleav for the organization, a new Bleav for the Pittsburgh Steelers in general, as far as we have to see who's going to be at the helm when it comes down to that quarterback position. It's going to be a good one. So for me, that's just the most important, training camp battle for the 2022 season, Mark.
The rapport with the receivers as well is something I'm keeping my eye on, because Diontae Johnson had a great connection with Big Ben. Does Chase Claypool emerge and have a better connection? Do one of the young rookie receivers connect with one quarterback better than the other? That's something I'm also watching, because each quarterback and receiver relationship is a little bit different. And so that's something as well where it's like, okay, and we've talked about Diontae Johnson entering the final year of his rookie deal and whether he's worth top dollar as a receiver. I want to see how he gels with whoever the Steelers quarterback is, whether it is Trubisky or Pickett. So that's something else I'm keeping an eye on too, with that quarterback position battle between Trubisky and Pickett, is how do they develop? What is the rapport like with the receivers actually catching the passes from the quarterback? Because it's different from each quarterback to each quarterback, Ike.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it like this. I know Kenny Pickett had a stud receiver at the University of Pittsburgh. Now he transferred to USC. He was a smaller version, so he's a smaller version. So I can see Kenny Pickett going into the situation and looking at Diontae Johnson. Mitch Trubisky, I know Mitch Trubisky like big receivers. Well, of course, Mitch Trubisky, the grass is green on your side because you got George Pickens and Chase Claypool. So he can pick and choose who he wants at that position. So just from looking at it from afar and the fact that you just brought it up, I say Mitch Trubisky will look at, Chase Claypool and George Pickens first. And I would say Kenny Pickett will look at Diontae Johnson first, because in his mind, he likes to get rid of the ball quick, and he knows Diontae Johnson can get out a route as quick as any two of them receivers I just named between George and Chase Claypool. For Mitch Trubisky feels like if he's caught in the jam, he would like a receiver who has the size to help him out, and that's George Pickens and Chase Claypool as well.
Don't forget about Pat Freiermuth in that mix too, Ike. And the receiver you're talking about, the transfer to USC from Pittsburgh, Jordan Addison, who's going to be a top pick in the 2023 draft. So Psychic Ike Taylor out on the pod, though, already making an early guess on which receivers each of the young quarterbacks will like, Ike. And I'm very excited to talk about that.